Welcome to this week's live broadcast of the Teacher's Side Income Business. So jump on your phone and text one of your colleagues. I'm your host, Rodney Davis. And for those of you who don't know me, I've spent 26 years in education on the island of St. Martin. I'm now a retired school social worker and the founder of Teacher Led Schools, which is basically an online outfit where every Thursday at 6 o'clock, I'm here on Facebook and YouTube talking about what career educators can build with the expertise they've spent a career developing. We're also on LinkedIn Live, even though no comments are available on LinkedIn. So if you really want to be active and engaged and participate and see the comments and be able to ask questions, which I'm pretty sure that because I'm going to keep this up forever, right? And at some point, people are going to start asking questions, and then I'm going to have the format that I am yearning for, where I'm actually responding to people. Okay, but until that happens, for every week so far, I've had a little presentation prepared, and that is what we leave online for the replay. Good. But I invite you to interrupt the broadcast at any point to ask whatever question you feel like, because that's the format that I really want this to turn into. Okay, and this is a topic that is very should be very concerning to all teachers who are looking for ways to diversify their income. Okay, so once again, welcome to everyone on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm glad that you're here. Okay, give me just a moment so we get things set up. And once more, I want to invite everyone to, your comments. If you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, or if you're on YouTube or Facebook, uh, you're invited to comment. Even if you're on LinkedIn, you could comment, but of course, it's going to show here, but we are not going to be able to find a way to get you to see the feedback. So the full experience is basically on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. All right. I want to start tonight by acknowledging something. Teacher Appreciation Week was passed a couple weeks ago. Maybe what was it? 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I've been sitting with something about it ever since. Something I want to name out loud because I think most of you felt it too. Well, I know I used to feel it when I was in the classroom or when I was in the school, but nobody says it directly. Okay. So tonight's topic is what real appreciation should actually feel like. And I want to be clear from the start. This is not a complaint. It's not a rant about how hard teachers have it. You already know how hard teachers have it. You're living it. And I know this. This is something different. This is about naming a gap clearly and then doing something about it. Every year in the first week of May, something happens across schools and districts all over the US and beyond. Emails go out, cards get made, someone organizes a luncheon or brings in donuts or sets up a display in the front hallway with handwritten notes from students. Social media fills up with graphics that say things like, teachers change the world and beyond. And behind every great student is an amazing teacher. And the educators who receive all of this, the ones who've been showing up for 15, 20 years, the ones who've given evenings and weekends and summers and pieces of themselves that nobody ever put in a contract, those educators smile. They say thank you, and they mean it because the sentiment is genuine and the students' notes are real, and it would be ungracious not to receive it in an authentic way. And then the week ends and they go back to doing the same work for the same pay, carrying the same weight in the same system. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to wait a couple of weeks until after Teacher Appreciation Week to talk about it, because I know I've been through that experience one year after the next, where you do feel something on Teacher Appreciation Week because those things are real. But then when reality sets in right after, and a week or two after, it's as if Teacher Appreciation Week never happens. And I don't know about you, but speaking for myself, I might not have said anything, but for a moment I would be sitting in my office and thinking, wow, especially when something happens. My job often consisted of taking care of some, I was always putting out fires, so to speak, being a social, um, working in a school system, doing social work. Um, Crisis is just around the corner at every moment. All right. And I could remember many times sitting down and going, wow, every year we go through this, and every year we feel exhilarated because genuine appreciation is showed and received, and then 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, the same things keep happening, right? Nothing really changes. And I wanted to ask you something. After going through that, I want you to sit with this rather than just answer it reflexively, right? What would real appreciation actually look like? Not symbolic appreciation, not performative appreciation, but real appreciation, the kind that reflects the actual value of what you bring to the people around you every single day. I'll tell you what I think it looks like. Real appreciation looks like compensation that reflects the market value of your expertise. It looks like a price point that acknowledges not just your years of service, but the depth of what you know, the rarity of your instructional instincts, and the measurable impact you've had on real human beings over a sustained period of time. A lot of those kind words that were said to us during Teacher Appreciation Week are true when they say things about you have an incalculable value to the society at large. We take those comments and we put it in our hearts, and we feel gratitude and we move on. But today I'm asking you to dig deeper, because those comments are actually true. Incalculable value. And so real appreciation looks like being paid what you're worth. And here's a hard truth that I think most educators know somewhere in their bones, but rarely say out loud. The system was never going to give you that, ever. Not because the people in the system don't care. Some of them care deeply, but it's because the structure of public education was not designed to price expertise at market value. That was not the goal. That's not what they signed you up for. It was designed to standardize compensation. They pay teachers on a schedule that rewards the time served, not results produced. And no amount of appreciation weeks or heartfelt email changes the architecture of that system. And I'm not saying this to make you angry. I'm saying it so you can stop waiting for something that the system structurally cannot give you and start building something that can. Because here is what I know. And this is the part that matters tonight. Um, your expertise has a market value that is completely independent of what your salary schedule says it is. The skills you've developed over 15 years in a classroom, the ability to take complex knowledge and transfer it so completely that someone else can genuinely use it, right? The ability to hold a room of people with varying levels of engagement and bring them all along. And if you're working in the kind of school system that I was working um, in as the years went by, what we found was that more and more so, teachers were complaining more than ever of the wide variety of the different levels that end up in one classroom. Okay, and which is fine if you have a system that's designed for individual instruction. All right, um, even then it's challenging. But what most educators experience is that the system isn't really designed properly for um, heterogeneous classrooms. Okay, and so what you put on display for so many years is the ability to design learning that actually sticks, and that the value of that is incalculable. All right, and those skills are worth real money to adult learners who need them and are actively searching for someone credible to deliver it to them. The system priced your expertise at a teacher's salary. The market will price it differently, and the difference between those two numbers is significant. Um, I've been talking about this for weeks now. If you remember all the broadcasts we've been having, we've touched on this topic no matter what we were talking about. We touched on it when we were talking about the expert inventory, right? The download that we gave you for free. The adult learner advantage. When you spoke about the pedagogy gap, when we talked about the identity shift for you as an educator, when we talk about the sovereign niche and how you find yours, all of it has been building towards one question: what are you actually worth? And what would it look like to get paid accordingly? Tonight, I want to give that question a concrete, specific, actionable answer. Because appreciation is nice, compensation is better. And knowing exactly what your expertise is worth in the market and having a framework for pricing it confidently is the beginning of something the system was never going to give you. And um, we really have to stop thinking about it as being unfair. Not because it isn't, but because thinking that way is not. What I tell people that I'm coaching is that if there's no upside to thinking about something, even if that something is real, then why keep on doing it? If there are only downsides and no upsides, we don't need to dwell there, right? Let's dwell on where the solution is. So, what that means is you have to build it yourself. and you already have everything that you need to do it. So let's settle in here and talk about this. Let me be very specific about what I mean when I say your expertise has market value, because I think people hear that and nod, and but the number stays abstract. Subject specific instruction in adult learning market sells for anywhere from $197 to $1,000 for self-paced courses. If you have genuine instructional design background, and every career educator does, you're looking at $500 to $2,000 for a cohort program where you launch to a specific group, and then you close. You're not going to be leaving it open forever. And you're going to take that cohort through their transformation. And at the end of it, they have what they need. Special need parenting strategies, $500 to $3,000. Community and fundraising systems, up to 5,000 for consulting. Right? So you would have a course, and depending on the kind of clientele you develop, you add services on top of it that are more valuable than the course itself. Right? We do live in the world in the age of AI, and so the information is not what people are looking for. Okay, in the age of AI, information has become a mere commodity. All right, but courses are selling more than ever. Why? My premise, I'm going to keep repeating it. Why is because people are looking for something. They're looking for community. They're looking for transformation, and they know that just having the information is not going to get them there. Right? These numbers that I'm giving you are not outlier numbers. These are what the market currently pays for expertise that is far less credentialed, far less experienced, and far less instructionally sound than what you bring. All right? I've been saying this for ages now, or what feels like ages, even though we've only been doing this live for about 3 months now. But the gap between what the system pays you and what the market will pay you is not a small gap. It is a significant gap. And it exists not because your expertise is undervalued by the market, but because the market doesn't know you exist as yet. Now, there's a little caveat here that I have to pause and mention, right? That, yeah, I'm giving you the positive side of what the marketplace does, because I'm assuming that I'm talking to career educators who've been in the system for 10 or more years, right? If you've lasted that long, the chances are pretty good that on the market, if you learn the marketing that my agency is going to be presenting to you over the next coming weeks, for a price, of course. But if you get the marketing, and yes, you're going to be able to be paid what the market value of your expertise actually is. But the market is also brutally honest as well. That if you haven't developed the expertise, if you've been in the system for a short period of time, like a year or two, and you go out there and you're going to notice that people are more intelligent than we give them credit for. All right, and from my experience, this is the reason why I only want to work with experienced teachers. Is because I know those are the ones that have the expertise that we're talking about. All right. So if you're very young in the teaching business, we ask you to think about paying your dues. All right. I'm not saying that we won't accept you if you apply for one of the programs that we're going to be launching next month. we've moved the master class to June the 15th. But I'm saying that the chances of you succeeding and being paid at market value is a little bit less than an experienced teacher. And that's just being realistic and just being honest and real with you. Okay. I'm pausing a little bit to see if I see any comments. And I don't. So I'm just going to continue. All right. By the way, we're only going to go this so deep on this topic here in this public broadcast. We go much deeper at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock inside the Facebook group, the Career Educators Second Act Income Hub. All right. You can either join that group quickly in order to get in before 7 o'clock because the link is in there, or you can well, let me see if I can quickly put the link here in the comments. And just as a reminder, if you're on LinkedIn, you won't be seeing the comments. Okay, but I'm trying to find the link so that we can. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, but it's flashing at the bottom of the screen. There's a ticker tape that's running. The link is there. I know it's not a very attractive link. I'll do better next time and give you a more attractive link. So let's continue. I thought I saw a comment just a while ago. Yeah, so I had to say something about that little caveat there, right? Because I don't want anybody to think that there's only an upside to all of this, right? The market, the limit to what you pay is a much higher than what the system is going to pay you. The market value is much higher. But if you're not delivering, if you don't have the expertise, which my premise is that it takes a couple of years for you to develop that, the the market system, the market is going to be brutally honest with you and tell you so, because people are not going to take their hard-earned income out of their pocket and just give it to you if they don't see the value of what you're offering them. It's just that simple. Okay. So what we said previously is that the system price your expertise at a teacher's salary, and the market will price it differently, right? And that the difference between those two numbers is significant. Um, so all the topics that we went through, they're all hooked to this concept, right? So you have to build your expertise yourself. Okay. I gave you guys some numbers about, that give you an idea of what your market value is, right? And I've been saying that, just to summarize, the gap between what the system pays and what the market will pay you is not a small gap. It's quite significant. If and that was a caveat, if you have pedagogic content knowledge that's been developed, in my estimation, that takes somewhere between 5, 10, sometimes even 15 years. So what's coming up? What are you guys thinking? A lot of teachers at this point, they ask, yeah, but I've been teaching for so many years, but I don't know, you're giving me these numbers, but I don't know, and all of that sounds great, but I don't know, I have no idea what to charge. Even when you help people to develop, find their niche, um, charging and putting a price on it is a very uncomfortable thing for teachers. It's one of the biggest things I struggle with, right? They don't know. They ask you, "What do I charge?" And that's exactly the right question, I think. It's also one of the most. It's the one that most educators never get a straight answer to. Pricing isn't arbitrary. It's based on three things: how specific and high stakes the transformation and that you produce is, how credible you are to produce it, and what the problem is costing the person who needs this problem solved. I've actually put together a one-page guide that maps this out concretely, and I'll drop the link. Um, I'll drop the link as soon as I get comments or questions, not likes. I'm not looking for likes. I'm looking for comments, questions, um, because of course I've been doing this for a while, but it's the first time I'm actually doing this online. I started, I think, in January, and so I'm looking for feedback, real feedback. And I know I'm dealing with an audience that doesn't like to be in the public talking about a second income because there can be real consequences. Some department policy is against this sort of thing. So I understand this, but then there's also such a thing as an inbox. Okay, you can inbox me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Some teachers say that I feel like charging for my expertise would make me seem greedy. I want to gently push back on that framing, right? Because charging for your expertise is not greed. Charging for expertise is accuracy. The greedy move, if you're being honest, is staying in a system that extracts maximum output from you while returning minimum compensation and calling that arrangement dignified. Pricing your knowledge at market rate is not greedy, it's overdue. That's just plain and simple. Uh, what if I'm not ready yet? That's the other question I get. What if I'm not ready yet? What if I need more time to prepare? Well, this is not the school system. This is what I told the one person who asked me this. It's not a common question, but you know, it's up to you. You're as an entrepreneur. The nice thing about this is that you can do this. You can decide to do this along with your schoolwork in your evenings, or you can decide to just leave it for weekends, or you can decide to just leave it for school vacations. It's totally up to you. All right. My premise, and I'm going to keep repeating it, is if you've been in education for more than 10 years, you have what it takes already. All right. That's my honest answer. More time really makes people feel more ready. What makes people feel ready is taking one concrete step, discovering that the world didn't end. You don't need to launch something tomorrow. You need to know what you charge if you did, and then work backwards from that number. That's where it starts, right? Questions, questions. I'm pausing for questions. And since I don't see any, here's what I want to leave you with tonight. Real appreciation is a lovely thing. I mean that. The cards from students, the notes from parents, and genuine gratitude from uh, people whose lives you've changed, it matters and it's real, but appreciation and compensation are two different things. And I'm just saying you deserve both. Okay. Tonight I want to give you something practical and I put together a free one-page guide called the Expertise Valuation Guide. What a career educator's knowledge is actually worth in the adult learning market. And then it has a piece about how to price it with confidence, and it covers that comparable expertise that sells for what it sells for right now across seven educator categories. The three factors that determine whether your price of commodity or premium, where a veteran educator actually sits on that spectrum, and a starting price that you can hold with confidence, right? I would have put the link in the comments if I saw people actually commenting, but I'm going to wait for the and do it in the broadcast, right? So just um, I need you to just comment that you want it, and I'm going to drop the link um, at the bottom of the replay. So as soon as I get any kind of comment, I'm going to drop the link for that free resource. That's it for tonight. I want to sign off. And once again, I'm going to go even further into this topic, deeper into this topic in the private Facebook group. So you can jump over there, the Career Educators Second Act Income Hub, right? You're going to have to register, okay, for the private broadcast. It's private, so you have to have the link and you have to register. Okay. Thanks for showing up, and we're going to see you next week at the next episode of the Teachers Side Income Business. Over and out.